All right, what's up, guys? We are back with another podcast episode. Sorry we missed last week. Honestly, there just was not a ton of news, and there were some other projects we were kind of working on, so figured we'd skip it. But I did get messages from a number of you that were like, where is my podcast?
Oh, yeah.
And I hate missing a week. But sometimes, better than to just try and put a bunch of fluff in a podcast.
That's fair.
All right, so this week, there will be 3 upcoming paddles we're going to talk about just really briefly. We're going to talk a tiny bit, and I really do mean a tiny bit, about the Element 6 SURTR. Haven't put a ton of time on it. One of the main topics we're going to go over is what makes a paddle worth buying in 2025. This is actually a long form video I'm going to make, and I'm going to, I guess, tease it a little bit in this, but I think that it's really confusing to buy one in 2025, and I think you can make it a lot easier if you know how to eliminate certain things. Yeah. And then in the end, Aizec played a PPA Challenger this weekend, and I played in a minor league pickleball event. So we're going to kind of recap those, see how those went, and yeah, I think it'll be a pretty good podcast.
Yeah, just some tournament stuff at the end.
But first thing we got to go over, Aizec's dream come true happened. This is the perfect example of you miss all the shots you don't take. I don't even remember what you said in the podcast 2 weeks ago.
I know exactly what I said. You were going on and on about your back problems and health issues and all the things you do to take care of your body. And I let you go on and on about all these things you do. And then I said, you know what I do? I drink Ghost. That's what I do to take care of my body. Because, man, let me tell you, I love this stuff. I live off of this stuff.
I could have sworn you said something about, hey, Ghost, if you ever wanted to sponsor the podcast. But
I did say that too. I said, we're not sponsored, but if you'd like to, I'm not opposed to it.
Well, I guess someone at Ghost either plays pickleball or someone knows someone at Ghost and told them, because that same day I got an email from someone at Ghost, and they were like, dude, thanks for the shout out on the pod. Give me your address. We'll send you a bunch of stuff. And then I'm playing pickleball one day, and I hear a bunch of stuff happening in my driveway. I'm like, what? Like, I thought it was Sarah, my wife, doing something. I was like, what is going on? Like, she's like dragging carts of something. I was like, what is going on? Then I asked her, I was like, hey, what were you doing? And she was like, oh, I didn't do anything. I was like, then what was happening in our yard? And so I go to the front, and there's just giant boxes of Ghosts sitting on my doorstep. And I was like, oh my gosh, they were not messing around.
Sir.
So CJ at Ghost, you made Aizec's day.
Yes, sir.
And I did try this hydration one, which actually does taste pretty good.
Yeah. The energy drinks are great. Those are what I mainly drink all the time. Now started drinking some of these hydration ones. I've had them before. I like them. And now we're slowly getting you on the train.
We'll see about that. I did. The energy drink was good, but I don't think it's something I would drink regularly.
Too much caffeine for this guy. Over here, I'm drinking like a gram of caffeine a day.
Actually, maybe we'll get to it if I remember, but I did drink one the day of my minor league pickleball event because I didn't sleep very well that night, and I'll get into it later. But it was a whole thing. All right, first let's talk about this paddle. So the 3 paddles that are upcoming, 2 of them I don't think really have release dates yet. We have the Ronbus Refoam, the Pickleball Apes Harmony, and the Chorus Phoenix. So let me grab these.
Yeah.
So this felt like it just came very quickly, but here is the Ronbus Refoam. And when I first saw this get announced, I was really confused. Because in my head, I was sitting there going, the Ripple just came out. And seeing what some of the information was about this, like being a foam paddle, like I was just immediately like, are they seriously replacing the Ripple that quickly? Which, there were things about it, like the high swing weights, that weren't super appealing. So from that perspective, I got it. But after playing with it, this is not a replacement for the Ripple. This is an all-court paddle. Yep, for sure. That's really all we're going to talk about with this for now. Until this is like out of the beta testing program, I really don't want to talk about it because I feel like we've seen this happen too many times where paddles like get sent out early and it's like they're kind of final, but they're not. And then they get feedback and then it changes. And it's like, okay, well, what was the point of talking about it to a bunch of people if it was going to change?
Yep.
I feel like that makes it confusing for people. But all you got to know, not a replacement for the Ripple at all. Swing weights are quite a bit lower on this, and it plays like an all-court paddle. So that's all you really got to know right now.
Not power.
Definitely not power, which is fine. Next up, we've got the Pickleball Apes Harmony, which does have a release date. This is coming out August 6th, I believe. And I actually don't think I have pricing on this yet, but I want to say, just based on the pulse, my guess is it's got to be somewhere between $170 and 200.
Okay.
That would probably make the most sense. This is also going to be an all-court paddle, which, I'm actually kind of happy that some people are focusing more on all-court paddles, because I would say a lot of this year has felt like power, 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 power. Everyone's making a power paddle. It's like, what happened to all-court? But I think what's interesting, and I'm curious what you think about this, is some of the power paddles that are coming out now, the aspects about them like spin, sweet spot, and maybe just like some characteristics of foam have made them so much easier to control for the power level they have than what used to be out, that it almost feels like the all-court category, not that it's dying or dead, but it's like these power paddles don't have the trade-offs that they used to have.
Right.
So it's like, where does something like this fall? If you can have the same amount of control, but you have access to more power, why would you not take that?
Yeah.
Is kind of how I feel.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. It's the sweet spot, the feel, the control of all these power paddles has gotten so good. All the categories have risen together that yet almost feels like they're not dead for sure, but almost feels like all court paddles and definitely control paddles are starting to feel almost phased out.
Yeah.
Because who wouldn't want to have harder counters, better drives if you can have just as good a feel and control?
Yeah, because I feel like in the past, it used to be, I mean, if we go back a couple of years here, let's take Power Air when that was more relevant. Let's take Pro Kenix Black Ace, and there's probably one other power paddle of that era that I'm missing, but Pro Kenix Black Ace, not everyone loved that feel. The sweet spot was tiny. Spin wasn't amazing on it. Then you take a Power Air, and it's like, okay, feels like a plank, but at the time it was really powerful, and the sweet spot was big.
Spin was pretty good.
Sweet spot was small. I meant to say,
Yeah,
not
sweet,
big.
yeah.
Sweet. Though at the time, the sweet spot maybe, for its era, it wasn't bad.
For
By
a
today's
power paddle.
Yes. By today's standards, it's bad.
Yes.
But at the time, it was not. But those trade-offs were there.
Mm-hmm.
Now you look at an 11.624 Vapor Power. You look at the Honolulu J2NF, the new GX2 Power. I would even say the Yola Pro 4 is like sweet spot, spin, and like the ability to control them is a lot easier than what those old paddles would have been.
100%. The only downside I'm seeing now is, even though like in terms of some resets, drives, and drops is easier to control, still dinking, there's some issues popping balls up. That's where people are going to find problems. So if you still struggle with popping balls up at the kitchen, power paddles are not going to help. Like, they're not that controllable yet,
totally.
So I still think all court paddles and some control paddles, I know there's a lot of people out there who still love the Lux.
Yeah.
Are still relevant, but it's definitely a lot less than it used to be. I'm thinking, like you said, a couple of years ago, on average, most of the time, like fiberglass paddles were just really poppy, hard to control, small sweet spot. And now the technology's advanced so much that we're able to like create bigger sweet spots and more control while using fiberglass, whether it's just different face layups or whatever, and have the same amount of pop and power, but way bigger sweet spots.
Yeah. So, and all that to say, like with the Harmony, what I think is going to be interesting, and we've only had like probably we were hitting a couple paddles, so I would say 20 to 30 minutes hitting with the Harmony, and definitely strikes me as an all court paddle. But I think where it's going to be really interesting to see is it has competition on like both sides of it. So you have existing all court paddles. Let's take the Vatic Pro Saga and the 11.624 all courts. Okay, those are all cheaper than probably what this is going to be. So if you're on a budget and you want an all court paddle, you could go to those. People know those are good. And then on the slightly more powerful side, again, you have the 11.624 Power Series, and I guess if you want to throw the Alpha Pro in there, you could throw that in there too.
Era Power.
And then like even the Honolulu NF, like all of the, like, it's just both sides. It's like, dude, you've got some really stiff competition. And I didn't feel immediately that there was a thing on the Harmony that just made me go, this in the all court category is like what will, it just like, there's
take
something
off
about this that makes it so much better for the all court category.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe more time, we'll find something.
I think it's a very solid all court paddle, and I haven't found anything wrong with it yet. Not that I've put that much time onto it, but there was nothing about it that made me think this is the all-court paddle to end all court paddles.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, it's solid, but I don't know that there's that many reasons to buy other cheaper options.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of an interesting one. We'll see where that ends up. Of course, very early impression, things could always change. Like maybe as you hit it side by side with more things, we realize like, oh, okay, actually, you know what? It is maybe better than a Saga in this and could be worth it. But yeah, I just think the all-court category is like, it's getting tough.
Mm-hmm. My only thing that I'm concerned with is, especially with all-court paddles, is we already know that, say, the 11.6 all-courts or the Prisms or whatever all-court paddle you want to pick, that's just the typical honeycomb, thermoformed, or whatever construction you want, have gotten a lot better with durability. And I wouldn't say fully fixed it, but they last a lot longer. We're not seeing them core crush as often. And now adding some foam in different places and kind of messing with the core and doing stuff, I can't guarantee, but I feel like it's going to compromise durability a little bit.
Well, there's just more potential things that could go wrong.
Exactly. There's more things going on in the core, more things that can break. So why buy this if it's going to feel and play the same as something else that's cheaper and more than likely more durable?
Yeah.
So, but we'll find out the more we hit it.
Yeah, totally. And I think we'll get to, that's going to be some of the stuff we kind of cover in what makes a paddle worth buying. You know, I think there's just different things like that that may make one more appealing than another.
Yeah.
All right, next up, for a paddle that's actually out. So I was hearing about this for a while. The Element 6 SURTR is how it sounds like you say this. Smaller brand, haven't really heard much about them. Like maybe just some rumblings in the past, but otherwise not that much. Basically, this paddle, all foam paddle, but built, seeing some x-rays, built very similar to a Ripple. There could be some differences in the foam and whatnot, but when you look at an x-ray, it looks like a gearbox or it looks like a Ripple. Kind of like a hybrid of both. I think I want to say in the x-rays I've seen, it had more ribs than a Ripple, but maybe less than a gearbox.
Okay.
So it was kind of in the middle of those. So I'm always curious, like, I wonder if like that's ever going to be a problem for either of these brands, like gearbox with the, like I've seen their patent before and it feels like anything with a vertical carbon fiber strip and foam is problematic for the patent. So I don't know.
Maybe we'll see a wave of lawsuits coming at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? But anyways, for now, seems to be fine. But we hit this a little bit, and it struck me a lot as like the Beta Ripple, but with maybe less pop and power. Like it's definitely still hits pretty hard, but I don't think it was quite the reaction like when we first hit that Beta.
When we first hit the Beta Ripple, it was, holy crap, I'm going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
I'm bagging you from the baseline. Spin is crazy. It's just instantly it was nuts.
Yeah.
This is like, this doesn't feel crazier than any of the power paddles we currently have.
Yeah.
Yolas and any other stuff. So it's like, it fits along with what we've got already.
Yep.
It doesn't feel problematic.
Yeah.
The Beta Ripple felt like a problem immediately.
Yeah.
So
This definitely
this
doesn't.
was, totally fine.
So I'd say overall played really well. Again, I mean, like if it has aspects of the Beta Ripple but toned down, like this is, I think, tell me what you think about this. This is what I imagined when everyone was like, just tone down the Ripple and it'll still be good and it won't be problematic anymore. This is pretty much what I think I thought that would be.
Yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah.
This if the Ripple toned down felt exactly like this, it would have been great. It's like, doesn't feel crazy, plays well, good sweet spot, spins good, pop is great, fast in the hands, it's not super heavy. Like all those things is what I feel like the Ripple should have turned into. Yeah. And I'm a little biased because it's 16 millimeter. So of course I like it a little bit more.
You and your 16 millimeter. But here's the thing that I'm very curious about. So obviously Ronbus had spent a ton of time on that design. And I do not know the backstory of this paddle. It's probably something I need to ask about with the owner. But I'm always, based on how technology in pickleball has gone, where a company usually spends a lot of time on something, and then suddenly a bunch of other people come out with it. For example, Carbon, working on the True Foam forever. Then suddenly there's a wave of other EPP core paddles. Ronbus works on this foam paddle with these vertical rib structures. Suddenly now there's another one. I'm always curious. There are brands that take some shortcuts and then will have some durability issues. And what I want to know is, did they actually learn anything from the Ripple and when it had issues like break-in periods or like ribs not going as high and like areas being kind of like crunchy. It's like, okay, if this reminds me a lot of the beta and it's lighter, why was Ronbus not able to figure that out after years of messing with it? And why was this company able to figure it out?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that doesn't mean they couldn't figure it out. For all I know, this guy is super smart. Okay. So I don't know, but it makes me wonder if this is going to have issues.
Good point.
So I'm not giving any sign off on this paddle in terms of like, oh yeah, guys, it's so awesome. Go buy it. Like that is the thing I'm worried about. That's having that issue.
That's valid. Yeah. It makes sense.
But otherwise,
I could see it having issues, but I mean, yeah, we only played with it for maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So gonna have to put some more time on it to see. How much, do we know how much it is?
200.
200?
Okay. And then after a discount code, I don't know, it's probably between $10, $15 off.
I feel like at $200, I think it's solid. It plays well. It only comes in this shape.
Yes.
At that point, I'd probably rather just pick an Era Power.
Why? I feel like they're like very different.
They're very different paddles, but in terms of like overall presence in what the paddle is trying to do, I think the Era Power is just better. And this has a 1-year warranty, right?
This?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on this, actually.
I thought we looked into that a couple weeks ago.
I'll talk and I'll find out.
But yeah, I just think the Era Power has been out for a little while now. A lot of people have used it. I've used it for a little while. I really like how it feels. I think it's proved itself to be very good. And I think I'd rather pick that and just the shape. You have 2 shape options.
Sure.
Selkirk is just a well-known, good, solid brand with good warranty. I think I'd rather pick the Era Power.
Actually, wait. No, you're right. They did do 1 year because, yeah, you're right. We did cover that a while ago because I couldn't find it on the website, and then people brought it up that it was lower, then it was 6 months, then a year. Yeah,
yep.
So you're right about that.
That's what I thought. So, I mean, similar warranty. So even if durability is an issue, 1-year warranty is good, but I still think I'd rather pick the Era Power, even though they are completely different constructions.
I was going to say they're pretty different paddles.
Yeah. I just think at that price point, $200 or pick an NF.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I would probably, because of seeing how it's holding up so far, I would be much more willing to recommend an NF over this at the moment, just because we don't know how it holds up.
How much time have you put on your NF now?
Well, the pre-production one I had was from beginning of June to whenever I reviewed it, so like close to middle of July, and then I had probably a week on the production one, which is what I'm using now, and neither of them have had issues. Like they're both still stable, but obviously that's still too early to say, right? Like maybe it's the 2-month mark, maybe it's the 3-month mark, but I feel like
you just need me to hit it.
That's true. Maybe, maybe we just need you to hit it. But yeah, so I just think it's got, like, with the questionable durability, we'll see. But maybe it holds up fine. But yeah, like, I would say if you liked the old Beta Ripple and just wanted it to not hit as hard, boom, this, like, kind of knocks it out of the park. Though it's, I will say, people give Honolulu a hard time with graphics. It feels like this sword was, like, from a clip art website.
Yeah, this one's not going to stand out in terms of graphics. It's not the best. It's very simple, which honestly I don't hate. There's not a lot going on, which is fine, but it is definitely very like basic font. They grabbed the sword. They just grabbed a different sword. Than Honolulu,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are the paddles that are coming up right now. And now I want to talk about just what makes a paddle worth buying in 2025, because I think the paddle market, more than any time since I have been in it, it's like never been more confusing to buy a paddle.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about paddle reviews, how many paddles are launching, and if you are just an average person trying to figure out what's going on, it would be really hard. So this will eventually be a whole video. I'm hoping within maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks, this video's done, but I guess this will kind of be the teaser of it. So here are some of the reasons I think it gets confusing. One, there's new releases constantly. I mean, look at July. How many paddles were released?
So many.
And a lot of similar paddles. That causes a lot of FOMO, especially which FOMO, if you don't know, is fear of missing out. Causes a lot of fear of missing out. because you're like, oh, wow, it sounds like these perform awesome. And maybe you have a slightly older paddle and you're like, yeah, maybe it's time to upgrade. And you start like, and then there's a lot of options. There was like 9 foam core paddles last month. So it's like, which one should I buy? I don't know. It sounds like they're all really good. And then, which then leads to like decision fatigue because like, I don't want to make the wrong decision. Kind of like when you're at a restaurant and there's too many food options. You're like, well, I want this, but this sounds really good. Like, what if I regret buying this?
Mm-hmm.
Think paddles do the same thing. Then you have a lot of people using the same technology. Also what we saw in July. Obviously, there are small differences in how each are approaching it, but largely similar concepts. And then companies find like interesting ways to put marketing spin on it to make you think theirs is better than another person. That's what marketing is. And almost always, this is just kind of a sidebar, almost always it's just jargon.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can think of a single paddle company's marketing that I would go, oh yeah, that was spot on. Like that was actually helpful for me thinking that helps me decide if I want this paddle. Like no company is ever going to say, you know what, guys? We built a power paddle. It's the ultimate power. But you know what? It does have pretty poor control. And it's like maybe not the biggest sweet spot. No company's ever going to say that. So like either go watch a review from someone you trust or go find a friend who's hit the paddle and then ask them what they think of it. The marketing is like literally just there to make you go, to just make you want.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to think of like any industry of any product I've been looking into buying where I've like read the marketing just list or jargon and went, yeah, that really makes me want to buy this more. Like, no, there's the marketing stuff of anything.
Well, it does make you want to buy it more, but it's not useful information for deciding.
The information doesn't like
help.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And then the last 2 things, just in kind of the smallest, price points are all over. So you're like, do I buy the more expensive one? Does that mean it's better? Does the cheaper one mean it's lower quality? So then you're like, I don't know. And then
that's that expensive wine, cheap wine test going on.
Definitely a little bit. And then the last thing is like, should you buy from a big brand or a smaller brand, which kind of goes hand in hand with the price thing. Like, is the smaller brand worse in some way? Is the big brand actually better?
Are you just buying a name?
Mm-hmm. So those are some of the things that I think add to why it is so confusing to buy a paddle. Like it's with all the releases, you're just like, dude, I can't like keep track. What's good, what's not. And to add to that, there's effectively no bad paddles anymore. Like truly, you can't really think of like this year. Can you even think of 5 paddles that objectively were like, you would call it bad performance? Like performance alone, you would tell someone, never buy this.
Engage innovation.
See, but I don't even think you can say that's like objectively terrible performance.
Okay. Well, like you went from bad to terrible.
Okay,
we gotta.
I'm thinking like original Adidas metal bone bad.
Okay. No, that's terrible. That's bottom of the barrel. Okay. There's nothing else that's that bad.
But like, you see what I mean? Where it's like,
100%.
there's not really these paddles where you're like, it's so bad that just disregard everything else.
That's kind of what I've been telling people recently, where they're asking me about all these different brands, different paddles. I'm like, here's the thing. At this day and age, it's really hard for a company to make a bad paddle. Like you got to be doing something really special over there to make a bad paddle. Like Adidas.
Even their one this year. There were things about it that made it like, would I say it was on the, so far this year, would I put it in like probably one of the worst releases? Yes, but it at least this time had a redeeming quality, which was it hit really hard.
Yeah. I think as we just talked about at the beginning of the pod, where like power paddles have gotten bigger sweet spots, feels better, all these things. It's almost like they made a 2022, 2023 power paddle where the trade-offs were still really big. You hit hard, tiny sweet spot, you know, but everything else is just way ahead.
Right.
That's kind of how it felt.
But
yeah, I mean, looking at the wall right now and just thinking through other paddles, yeah, I mean, you're kind of right. I can't really think of any paddles that are just objectively really bad.
And I think, and that the whole point of like mentioning that is to hopefully make it easier for the people listening to understand that almost no matter what you pick, you can't land on a truly terrible paddle. That's like, dude, why did you buy that one?
And you can never go to the park and play and say, I missed that because of my paddle. Like, nah, guys, it's not the paddle. That's. I was playing with somebody the other day and they said that. They're like, man, my paddle's just giving me issues. It's like, dude, it's not the paddle. It's you.
I mean, I do think there are paddles that are harder for people to use, right? Like if you're someone that likes control paddles and I give you like, if I gave someone the metal bone, yeah, they're going to struggle. I would struggle if I had to go to a tournament with that, right? Like, so I do think there can be the right and wrong, but it's just that it's not like back in the day where it was like, dude, Franklin STK, why would you buy that? Like, that just doesn't really exist now. But so all that to say, what it really comes down to is less about the paddle being bad and what trade-offs are you willing to accept? Because paddles all have trade-offs, and you have to figure out what trade-offs are worth it to you. So some examples I wrote is you could have awesome power, but a bad sweet spot, kind of like the metal bone we were just talking about. You could have a really high swing weight that makes it hard for you to swing, but it could objectively have really good performance. Like, it plays really well, but it might be too hard for you to swing. Or maybe you have awesome performance, but it's low durability. And you could go on and on and on with these trade-offs. Maybe it's amazing performance, but the price is really high. It's $400. Well, that's a trade-off. So that's what I think people need to think about.
And the other things I think people should look into when buying a paddle more is, well, thickness is one thing. I mean, what do you prefer?
Yep.
And then shape of the paddle is obviously very important. What shapes do you like? Obviously, I'm very attached to elongated paddles. And then durability, because every paddle is going to perform well, but how long is it going to be able to perform well for? So durability is a big thing to look into. Everything spins well. Most things have a pretty good sweet spot. And then it's like feel. What kind of feel do you want? Do you want it to be stiffer? Do you want it to be plush? Do you want it to be dwelly? Do you want it to be really pop? All these different things, like feel-wise, what do you want? And then honestly, everything else is just kind of similar, and they all feel not the same, but like they're all relatively similar.
I really thought for a second there that you were about to read off my entire next segment, and you got close. You got about half of it. but so with all these trade-offs, like what I think it comes down to is I was like writing this for the video, so I don't know if I've landed on it perfect yet. But basically, I think there's like 3 pillars that it comes down to buying a paddle. Everything you just said, which is the first pillar is performance. Okay, does it perform well? And within that pillar, there's like subcategories, which is sweet spot, power, pop, control, swing weight, feel of the ball, and spin. Spin is like, I'm putting it in there because it's a thing people are going to ask about, but like you said, most everything performs about the same.
Now, I will say, when it comes to spin, even though everything is good, like, let's just say we test something and it comes in at high 18, low 1900s. That's solid. But then there's some of these paddles that I'm getting like 2300, close to 2400. That's a pretty big difference. Yeah. Even though 1900 is not bad, 23 to 24 is a very noticeable jump, and I'm going to hit a lot better shots and drives with 2400. Yeah. So even though everything has gotten a lot closer and is still good, there are some that are noticeably better.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the first pillar, performance, and those are like the subcategories of performance. Then I think it goes on to the second pillar, which is durability and customer service. How good is the durability, and are you willing to pay a higher price for it? For example, when the True Foam came out, I would say that was worth it for a lot of people. At a time where core crushing was like really bad, and then that comes out, yeah, it's a higher price, but it's the same price as some of the high polymer core paddles and was more durable. And it proved to be more durable. Mm-hmm. You know, now that we're many months deep, okay, yeah, maybe it's had a couple that were issues, but not nearly what Gen 3 had.
Yeah.
And then how good is the customer service? You might put up with a paddle that has more consistent issues if the company has like elite customer service. As to my knowledge, I don't know how many others do this, and I think Selkirk still does it, but I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure that when you submit a warranty, they will ship you the paddle first, and then you ship the paddle to them. To me, that's pretty elite customer service. You don't even have to ship it back first before you get a paddle, can keep playing, and then give back the broken one.
That is kind of crazy.
That's pretty elite. Yeah. So like that might be something that's really important to you. And then also another one that can be important for people is, does the company have a 30-day test drive? I'm pretty sure Selkirk has it. Carbon has it. I don't know how Paddletech might. Generally speaking, some of the bigger companies tend to have like pretty decent, like try it before you buy it policy. So that might be really important. So that's pillar number 2, durability, customer service. And then the third one is value. And value is kind of like a combination of a lot of things, right? It's like, it's determined by what matters most to you. Obviously, value is in the eye of the beholder. And then value often matters in context against other paddles.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I have 2 examples for high value and low value, and then we can kind of go back and forth on this. 11.624 Power Series, I would say very high value. At the time when it came out, basically what it was competing against was the 3S, which was awesome power, but it did have durability issues, and it was expensive. Then the Power Series comes along, great sweet spot, great power and pop without sacrificing all your control. Might not have had the top power like the Yola, but you had better control. Probably better for most people. Good swing weights, and then the feel of the ball really wasn't that polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
Durability, better than the 3S at the time. Still not perfect by any means. We've obviously known a guy that's gone through a handful of them now.
Had some issues.
But better than what was out at the time. So value, when benchmarked against the Yola 3S, very high when the price is like $100 cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I would say objectively that has great value. Vatic Pro Prism, performance, probably average sweet spot by today's standards, but very good control, good swing weights, feel of the ball is not that polarizing, durability, high. Like the worst thing you're probably going to deal with is like an edge guard coming loose. You're not core crushing one of those really. And then value, it's $99. Compared to any other control paddle, it's $99. That's a great value.
Vatic has kind of always just been at the top of the value train.
Yep. And they have a lot of shape options. You want a wide body, you want a hybrid with a long handle, a short handle.
Honestly, that's one of the nicest things. They have every option you can imagine.
Right.
And it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's pretty easy to understand. Nothing too confusing there. So those are 2 examples of paddles that I would consider high value. Now, an example of a paddle that I consider low value, but mostly it's low value when you put it in context against the Prism, would be the Diadem Blue Core. So performance. Some of the units had pretty good swing weights. They were on the lower side, so I'll give them that. Spin was lower. The faces were quite a bit smoother than a lot of other paddles, and it felt like it on the court.
Yeah, that was one where it was noticeable where I had to actually change how I swung to get the ball over the net.
Yep.
Which I don't like.
Right. Sweet spots probably felt about average. There wasn't anything, wouldn't say bad. I wouldn't say great. It was just kind of like middle of the road.
Yep.
Feel of the ball, fine. There wasn't anything like, it was on the more muted side, but I wouldn't call that an objectively bad thing. That's a preference thing. And then you come to durability. This is a plus for it. Full foam core. Most of them haven't had issues. I don't know that many people that have a blue core, but I haven't heard of an issue either.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's just say those are doing good. They also have a lifetime warranty on their core. That's great. You love to see that. And I think they might be the only one to offer that right now. So that's a plus in their favor as well. But the reason now that I would put it in low value is like, let's say, okay, all of that, you're like, dude, it's got a long-lasting core, lifetime warranty. How is this not a good value at $280? Like, not everyone else is doing that. But you put it up against the Vatic Pro Prism, now you go, okay, I can buy 3 prisms for 1 blue core. Wow, I just
wow.
flipped.
Jeez, what did I do to you? Dang.
For those of you listening, I had 3 fingers up and I dropped my pinky and ring finger and flipped him the bird on accident.
Wow.
Whoops.
Jeez. Somebody's in a bad mood today.
Whoops.
Subconscious messaging
yeah,
over
what the
here.
heck? That was crazy. I think I even meant to keep my pinky up.
That's hilarious.
That's pretty funny. Okay, but anyways, you can buy 3 of the Vatic Pro Prisms. So let's say the blue core was going to last you about a year, and then maybe you were really tired of the grit. Okay, well, 3 prisms for a lot of people, probably also going to last them a year, and now you get fresh grit whenever you decide to retire the paddle. So even if the core never breaks, okay, well, now I've got fresh grit that the blue core doesn't have the advantage of, and now we're at similar pricing. Mm-hmm. They're both control paddles. I would say in terms of control, they're very equivalent. The Prism probably gets better spin than the blue core does right now anyway. So in that context, it's hard for me to go, the blue core might not be a bad paddle, but it's a bad value when you benchmark it against the Prism.
Bad things about it. And what's interesting about durability is we've like solved one issue at a time while also creating issues through different technologies. So like initially way back, it was like, okay, edge guards come loose.
Oh, that was bad.
Glue rattling and coming loose in the paddles, and that was like the big durability issue. Handles snapping every once in a while just because Gen 1 construction, some wood handles, like different issues like that. We fixed that. Edge guards don't come as loose. We don't have as much loose glue, but now we've got thermoforming and core crushing. Okay, then we started to fix that, had those issues, and Gen 3 kind of brought those issues back. And then we fixed the core issue. Now we've got no more core issues. But now we've got grit issues. It's like fixing one after the other. Now we just got to fix grit. And then after that, I'm like, okay, well, what other durability issues do we even have to fix at that point?
Right.
Not much. So, yeah, at the moment, even though cores don't break, spin does not last long at the moment with our current technology. I prefer to switch paddles once a month just because of grit. I haven't core crushed a main paddle that I play with in a long time. Yeah. But I still refresh them just because of spin.
Yeah. So for that context, yeah, maybe you'd want the spin. And then another example in like what I would consider the low value, but people could make arguments both way, is the Selkirk Amped Pro Air. Performance, small sweet spot. Feels like a board. Spin, it's not going to last that long because I believe that one's not Infinigrit.
Nope.
So it's a spray-on grit, so it's not going to last that long, even less than raw carbon fiber. And it was in the all-court category, which, as we said, has some good competition. 11624 all cords, Vatic Pro Saga.
It's kind of expensive.
Yeah, 180 for the performance of what you're getting. I would call it a little more expensive. Customer service, though, is very good, like we said. Mm-hmm. So maybe that matters to you. If you want to be able to swap it when you if you cracked it or something, they've got you covered in that way.
And all of this depends on what type of player are you? Are you a rec social player that goes out once or twice a week, maybe with some friends? Are you maybe a more serious rec player playing 4 or 5 times a week, going to leagues and doing stuff like that? Or are you a competitive tournament player that plays every day? You're drilling, you're playing a lot, you're going to tournaments. Like all these things matter into what your value is, right? Like the value to someone like me versus the value of someone who just plays once a week, drastically different. Someone who plays once a week probably doesn't want to have to buy multiple paddles, just wants something that's not super expensive and is just solid. Yep. Versus I'm going to want to refresh things frequently and I need the best performance possible, whether that's expensive or not. Yeah. So it just changes depending on who you are.
Yeah, for sure. Because a casual rec player, and I also think as much as people say it doesn't matter to them, there's 2 things that I think go into this. One, status of the brand you bought from. People I know, they say they don't care if it's a Selkirk or a Yola. They're lying. Okay, I'm just saying maybe the tournament people don't care, and I believe that. But I'm just saying below that, people can say they don't care, but then I see comments like when the Honolulu comes out, and to be fair, I agree with them. The graphics suck. Honolulu needs a refresh. They need a graphic designer. The graphics are beyond dated and used. These are ugly paddles. Mm-hmm. But people all the time are like, I don't care about the graphics if it performs well. But then I see paddles like this and that is so ugly I would never play with it.
We say it performs amazing. We both like it. And then they're like, yeah, but I'd never use it because of the graphics. It's like, okay, guys,
and
come
so,
on.
As much as people say that doesn't matter, that could be it, for the Amped Pro Air. Someone might go, I love the color of it. And I get the status of a Selkirk. People know I bought a Selkirk.
Or even better thing on this is when the Bantam came out. We were like, at the time, we were like, this thing is amazing. Performance is great. Low swing weight, power, huge, spin, good. Be like, yeah, but I wouldn't use it because it's got a girl's name on it.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing
that
with
was so stupid.
The Scorpius, Anna Bright's paddle.
Yeah.
I think that's where it initially happened. People are like, yeah, but it's got a girl's name, so I won't use that.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
Are you kidding me, guys?
Yeah, dude, I could not care less.
That was the craziest thing I had seen. Like,
in fact, if it was a paddle that I actually liked, I don't have it on me to show, but I think it might be circulating on the internet now. The Paris Todd Franklin paddle that's coming out soon, dude. If I could slap that on like whatever my main paddle is, I would rock that. I don't care that it's got pink and blue. Like, it looks sick to me,
dude. Some shades of pink, some of my favorite colors, and those paddles, those ones look really good. Now, I'm a hater on gradient edge guards, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, or I'm sure a lot of you have, knowing our audience.
Yeah.
This is finally the only gradient edge guard I've ever seen done well. And I'll leave it at that.
I was surprised that you liked it when I showed you. I fully expected you to hate it.
Yeah.
But anyways, going back to the Amped Pro Air, to me, it's a bad value because at $180, it loses its texture quickly, has a worse sweet spot when compared to cheaper alternatives. So it's like the only thing to me that the Amped Pro offers is the better customer service and better graphics and I might have already said customer service, but like customer service and graphics. Oh, status is what I was going to say. Like, okay, you bought a Selkirk. Someone might like that. But to me, that is a low value paddle. Mm-hmm. So while it might not be the worst performance in the world, can people play with it? Yeah, we've seen some pros play with it. Can a rec player play with it? Sure they can. It might be harder than some other paddles, but
to be fair, on the status thing, as much as I think it is kind of dumb to care about that, we have seen that affect a friend of ours.
Oh, yeah.
With the status thing of a paddle.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, for those of you who are OGs and have listened to our pod for a long time, you'll know the name Babolat Guy. Now, this guy
this isn't even who I thought you were.
Oh, really?
I have a different story, but okay, I'm curious to hear yours.
Yeah, no, Babolat Guy. Absolute legend. Bro's 5'5", incredible player, travels around a lot for work. He asks us, where to play all the time. He usually goes to like rec plays and open plays at different facilities and stuff. And he was out of town. No one recognized him. He had this old, I don't even know the name of it.
I see what I know it's.
Yeah. Junkie Babolat paddle. Yeah. This guy's incredible with it though. This lady is about to play with him. She goes, well, I haven't won yet. So I don't want to play with you. And so he's like, okay. So he plays against her and absolutely smokes her. And so like people were moving their paddle out of the slot with him because they saw he had a bad paddle.
Yeah.
Like, come on, it's kind of silly. Even though the guy's an incredible player.
Yeah.
So there's that like status thing kind of affecting, like it has effects, know? So I get caring about it to an extent.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
I was thinking of our other friend who he's been playing with the Air and he didn't want to buy the 11.624 Power Series because it's like, I think it's uglier and I like the status of the Selkirk.
I don't know if that's necessarily as much of a status thing as one, he's a Selkirk diehard. Yeah. And he just loves that brand. And two, he thinks they're really ugly paddles, which I agree with.
But here's what's funny. I even talked to him a little, one of the last times I played with him, and he was like, I think I actually like how that one performs better, but I still won't use it.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Unless he's changed his mind again since that, but that's the last conversation I thought I had with him.
Okay, I hadn't heard that.
So that's why I'm like, it clearly matters to some people.
It definitely matters to people.
So anyways, guys, all of that to say, I think no matter what, there's a paddle for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you picked up a Diadem Blue Core and you said, I don't have a budget, I don't care, and then maybe you're not super worried about like spin, and you got the paddle and you say, you know what, I love it. By all means, use it and love it. Who cares what I say, what you say, what any other person says? If you like it, at the end of the day, that is all that matters. But you are then just accepting the trade-offs, right? Okay, you got less performance than you could have for more money. If you don't care, you don't care. It doesn't matter. But if you are trying to like decide and figure out what's important for you, those are things you got to think about.
Yeah.
So there's not really paddles with like objectively terrible performance anymore. It's just trade-off.
Think of it this way. This is funny. The goalpost of skill level has shifted and moved, right? The goalpost of bad paddles has moved. So now we just got to like, even though things aren't like that bad.
Yeah.
They're like, for example, what I would say, like the Blue Core, maybe it's not the worst, right? We talked about it, but in comparison to everything else, it's bad.
Sure.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Like, just the goalpost has changed. Even though, like, yeah, it's playable, it's fine, it's got some things going for it. Compared to everything else you can buy, I put it in the bad category.
Sure. I mean, I think that's fair. And then, so I think just to kind of wrap this segment up, I think what you have to do is figure out what are the non-negotiables for you in a paddle, and then you buy accordingly, because it is so overwhelming, but it's less overwhelming if you kind of know the categories you're looking for, and then that whittles down your options a bunch. So if you were using the pillars that I talked about to kind of filter down your options, we can kind of drill down a little bit more. First, you figure out style of paddle you want. Do you want control, all court, or power? Let's say there's 100 paddles on the market right now that are worth buying, and you say, I want a control paddle. That alone may have just filtered your options down to 10. Mm-hmm. So now instead of looking at 100, just by that one decision, you're like, okay, here are the 10 control paddles that I should consider. Now within those 10, you might go, I want a really low swing weight. Now that may have just lowered your options down to 3.
Yeah.
So you're even lower. And then after that, you go, okay, how important is a really good sweet spot? Maybe that narrows it down to 2. And then from there you go, is budget a factor for you? Let's look at the blue core and prism again. If budget's not a factor, maybe blue core's fine. If budget's a big factor, well, you've limited it down to 1. Now your option's the prism, right? And then last one is other things like the customer service and 30-day test drive. If that's not important to you, okay, well, you don't have to look at any of those and you don't really care. So I think you can kind of use some of those to just like filter your options and like don't, in reviews or like seeing things online, it can be like, oh man, everyone's talking about this paddle. Like, I feel like I need this paddle. Most of you, if you bought a paddle within the last year, you probably don't need a new paddle.
Yeah.
Unless you really hate that paddle, which you might. If you're that person, then okay, maybe go look for a new paddle. But most of you really do not need a new paddle. There are paddles. I mean, the Prism's literally 2 years old now. And Augie Gee was playing with it just fine. So like, even just because it's older doesn't even mean it's bad.
Yeah.
The Volair Mach 2 Forza, older paddle, still in my opinion, probably one of the best control paddles you can buy. So like old doesn't even mean bad.
I get it though. There are a lot of people, especially our audience, that it's a hobby. They just like to buy and hit new things, and it's fun. So I get it. Like,
well, and that's a totally different. That's just a different
crowd,
demographic,
different audience. Yeah. So, but like, I can relate to that. There are definitely things in equipment realms where it's like, I just get it because it's fun.
Yeah.
And I don't need more stuff, but I do it just because.
And if that's you, you probably know that's you. So most of what I said is irrelevant to you anyways.
Yeah, this pod's relevant for a lot of people, I feel like.
You were going to buy 3 new paddles this month anyways. So who cares what I said just now?
Dude, there are some people I've met where they're like, with how many paddles they buy, I'm like, bro, you're almost keeping up with us. How's that even possible?
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
So, but yeah, like I think, like you said it really well. Think about the non-negotiables. Like example for me, obviously shape. That's a big one. Then most of the time, thickness, swing weight, and stuff like that. All like those are the things that matter first. I'm just comparing, like imagining Ripple and Gearbox, both elongated, both power paddles, both similar feel-ish, but then one's really heavy, one's not. So it's like you go with whatever feels better for you. So just like you said, narrow it down through those different things, and should be pretty easy to find a paddle.
Yeah, totally. So anyways, hope that helped, guys. I'll have another video that kind of goes over more of this later. I probably honestly covered a lot of it in here, but thought that'd just be a good topic to go over. You've made it to the kitchen now, and you probably...
Tournament time.
Yeah, tournament time. So, all right, Aizec and I played 2 different tournaments this weekend. So there was a PPA Challenger in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and then there was a minor league pickleball event that I went to in Rochester, Minnesota. So we'll go over mine first, and then we'll go to yours.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine, I've never played in a minor league pickleball event, and that's why I wanted to do this one, is because I was like, oh, okay, well, still haven't done this. I'd like to I hear about it all the time, but I haven't played one. So I've always really liked the team events. I've played in a number of them in Minnesota, and they've always done like slight variations of like how a true MLP event would be. Mostly the Dream Breaker is what gets modified, but I think it's really fun playing with 3 other people. And like, especially, this is a pro and a con. I like watching my teammates' matches and like cheering them on, but also that makes the day go really long. So like this event, we had 3 courts and we only used 2 of them. And so that meant like if the women were playing, I was watching their match. I wasn't playing like my men's match at the same time. Fun to watch, but then you're like, dang, this day runs really flipping low.
Slow.
Like, it was 7.5 hours we were there. 3 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. And then I had an hour and a half drive home. So it was a long day. But I think it's really fun, and I love most team events that have been here locally, they don't do a real singles Dream Breaker. I've only done one that did it. And minor league pickleball, obviously, since trying to model after major league pickleball, does a real singles Dream Breaker.
That's
and
nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
To me, I don't want to play another mixed match. And you know what? If people don't play singles,
sorry,
that's your problem.
You signed up for a team tournament.
Even that, honestly, there was a number of people at this one that you could tell they don't play singles normally, and it was still entertaining to watch. They weren't bad at singles, but they just like played it differently. For example, there were a handful of women I watched play singles, and I kind of got the vibe that, okay, they don't play singles very often, but they were literally playing cat and mouse. I was like, you don't see this at the high level. I was like, how do you know to do this at this level? So I just thought it was fun to watch. And the fun part about a Dream Breaker is like, since everyone pauses and basically watches this one match, there's just a lot of like small chirping back and forth, and then just like people making jokes. Like one girl went out on the court, and I think she had gotten beat up in the last round of the Dream Breaker. They were on the second cycle, and she was like, okay, I'm going to start trying now. And everyone just kind of chuckled. She smoked the guy that round. And it was like the most comical timing ever. And then similar for me, one guy 4-0'd me in the first round of the Dream Breaker. And I was like, geez, that was embarrassing. So when I walked out, I think he made a joke. And I was like, dude, you don't have to embarrass me in front of everyone again. And then I got 3 straight points to like tie the Dream Breaker back up. So I just think it's very fun and exciting.
Singles for the Dream Breaker is just so much better. I'm so annoyed with people like tournament directors and facilities using this excuse of, just not many people play singles. That's not my problem. That's their problem.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what you're getting into. This is a MLP style tournament.
Yeah.
You're going to play singles.
Yeah.
If you don't like singles, win your matches. Win your games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just don't lose. Just win your doubles matches if you don't want to play singles.
Yeah.
So
there were times too when, let's say, we won women's, lost men's, and then like I won my mixed match, and I'm like coming over to watch the last one because they're still going. Dude, I would be more nervous for my teammates than I was my own match.
100%, because you can't control what they do.
I would literally be watching, and like you'd see this like long point, and then all of a sudden a hands battle starts, and you like maybe a ball goes up kind of high, and I'm like literally lifting my hat, and I'm like, oh my god, and then like they reset and go back, and you're just, I don't know. It was, to me, that is a very fun part of that type of team event.
Yeah.
And to me, kind of felt worth the trade-off and how long it went. I also do like, I know not everyone likes this, but for me personally, I loved it. When you're doing these types of events and you don't have to stack because you're just in your box the whole game. I was on the left the entire day. Loved it. I didn't have to run over to the other side. Didn't have to worry about like hand signals. It was just nice to not move. So I personally like that.
It is kind of nice.
And then I guess I don't have too much else to say. We ended up getting second in the event. So basically how it worked is there was 4 teams total in this. And since they didn't get 6, I think, basically we played every team twice in a round robin. And then your win-loss for game record is what determined if you won. So in the first round, we only lost 1 match. And then in the second round, the team that we lost to, we ended up beating them in a Dream Breaker. So as long as we had beaten the last team, which we'd beaten in the first round, we were likely going to win. All right, sorry, we had a battery die there, so I kind of lost my train of thought. But basically, the last team we played, I think if we beat them and had beaten them by enough points, then we would have gotten first place, is my understanding. So what sucked was last mixed match, me and my partner, we won women's, lost men's, and then it came down to the mixed matches to go to a Dream Breaker. And then our other team lost mixed, so it came down to us. I didn't know this at the time. It's 18-20. We were having a great match. And I get a sitter forehand, literally the ball that pickleball players, they dream of. Like, this is like when they go home and they think of how awesome they were, it's this ball, shoulder high. It's not above your head where it might be awkward and you hit a bad overhead. It's literally the perfect ball. And I said, I am going to destroy this ball. I am going to let this team know that we are going to come back to 2020 and win this match. And I hit it and I hit it out. I was so mad at myself because I did this so many times in mixed specifically. I'd get the perfect ball and hit it out. I was like, dude, this is people don't even have to practice this ball. It's so easy.
You got that's the problem. You got the demon and the angel on your shoulders. The one's whispering here, swing big, hit it hard, show them the power. The other one's like, dude, get in the court. If you just hit it at a moderate pace, you're probably gonna win the point. You're like, no.
Yeah, so I was pretty angry that we ended up losing that way because then at that point it would have been 19-20. They have to win on their serve, so they would have to get 2 points in a row to even win the thing. Probably wouldn't have been that hard to get to 20-20. So that was disappointing. But anyways, we ended up second. Happy with it overall. You know, it was fine. But I liked the event. I would love to do another one of these. Hopefully there's more that are close by because every team tournament I've ever played, I've had a fun time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I give a thumbs up for minor league pickleball.
Nice. Yeah. Solid.
For sure.
All right. Well, on to PPA Challenger.
Yeah.
This was an interesting day. So it was in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, which is like an hour and a half away from where I am, maybe a little further. And I know a lot of people got hotels, stayed up in that area, drove up the day before. I didn't play singles. I didn't play mixed. I was just going up for men's. So I had to drive there the morning of, which means I had to wake up at like 4 a.m. For those of you who don't know, I have sleep issues. I can never fall asleep at a reasonable hour. And I'm trying so hard to go to sleep. And I just cannot. It's 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 a.m. I don't get to sleep till like 1:30. So I get like 2.5 hours of sleep, maybe 3. And so I drive there feeling fine. It's so early. And also the weather recently has been insanely hot. So it was outside at a public park. Courts were actually pretty nice. Big. I didn't even know these courts existed. They had a lot of space, baseline, width. They're all individually fenced off, which was pretty nice.
Oh, well, that's nice because you had the opposite of us. I have not played on courts tighter than what I played on this weekend.
Really?
I'm not kidding you. There was probably 4 feet from the baseline to the wall. Like my swing for my serve, I could hit the wall.
Dang.
Like even if I was pretty close to the baseline, like I had to literally every time I walked back, put my arm out, touch the wall so I knew how much space I had.
Yeah.
It was very tight.
I mean, normally I'm putting my butt against the wall or the fence or whatever. I had so much space, I didn't even need to go back as far as I could, which was pretty nice. But the downside was the courts were pretty skippy. So outdoor courts have been used a lot, not much grit left in it. So the lines in the court, like dinking, the ball would shoot at you. So that was probably the biggest downside. But overall, setup was pretty good and pretty nice. A lot of area for sitting around, a lot of tables. But
how did they do this? So I'm thinking, obviously, for those of you who don't know, the PPA Challenger events are essentially these smaller PPA events where people who are trying to like get points and get to main draws can do it in a smaller event without the main pros there. Like you're basically just dealing with qualifier guys.
Yeah, it's better. It's all qualifier guys, some main draw guys. We had a few teams that were main draw level players, a couple challenger PPA or MLP guys there.
And so did they, like what was kind of the setup? So obviously with a normal PPA event, they've got a Pickleball Central booth. They've got like a Rain Energy tent. Like they've got all these different tents and setups. What did that look like?
I was just about to get there. So it is, imagine a very small local tournament. 1-2 people kind of running it. It's like, think of a local tournament on steroids, like just more serious. Like the pressure, like the vibe of it is like, you can tell it's very serious. Obviously everyone wants to win. It's a pro level tournament, but there was a couple food trucks and then a tent for the tournament director and the refs. That's it. Otherwise, you go out to the courts, you set up your bags, you do whatever. Like, not much more than that. So there wasn't. Don't think of like a big PPA event where there's a lot to do when you go there as a spectator and watch and like. It's more like, okay, go watch some of your friends. It's not something that you're like, hey guys, let's pack up and go to a PPA Challenger and watch some pros play. Not at all like that.
I see.
Where a PPA is like, it's an event. You get to go and watch and there's things to do and people to see, and that it's completely different. It's much smaller, more of like, you are a player, you go to this.
I see.
Not a spectator thing. So day starts. First match is against a local guy that we know, and then Sam Weinbach. And my partner and I just were off. We were not playing super well. We got down 7-0 to start the first game. And the sun was pretty rough. We had it in our eyes. We were on the bad side. And then there's a lot of shadows on the court, so it made it tough to see the ball. But we started clawing back a little bit. We end up losing the first game. We also lose the second one, so we get knocked into the backdrop. Bit of a bummer, but Sam played really well. Shout out to him. Super cool. We walk on court, and then I can't remember. He said something to my partner, and then he said hi to me, and then I can't remember exactly what the interaction was, but he goes over. He's like, "Of course I know who this guy is." He's like, "I love your videos." So nice. Shout out to Sam. Fun playing. We get knocked in the back draw. We end up winning our next match fairly easily. A couple guys from New York. It was 15-11, I think. So it was a good match, but I think we had a lead pretty much most of that that match. And then we get to the second backdraw match. This is where things get interesting. There is no clouds, no wind. It's 90 some degrees. Humidity's off the charts. It just felt terrible. Everyone's sweating. Everyone's dying. This match is going on forever. It gets to 15-15. We have a crazy point. We get the ball. I'm serving 15-15-2. I walk back to the baseline, and I don't know what happened. I felt totally fine. Instantly, I vomit. I hit the ground. I pass out, and apparently my partner said I was seizing. I'm on the ground. Medics come over. People are dumping ice on me. There's towels all over me. The next thing I know, I'm sitting at a table with a medic in front of me, and he's checking on me, doing their thing. They've just got ice all over me. And then I'm starting to come back and feel fine. And I look at my partner. I go, all right, you ready to get back out there and win this thing? Because it's 15-15. We can't just stop.
Yeah.
And he just looks at me and goes, buddy, I think we're done for the day. And I don't know, a fire lit under me. There was fire in my eyes. I looked at him and I said, absolutely not. We are not done. And he was so adamant. He's like, no, dude, we're done playing. Like, you're toast. And I was like, dude, I feel fine. I'm ready to go right now. And so tournament director came over. They gave me like 15, maybe 20 minutes to rest. The medic had to like clear me. So they let me sit for a little bit, and they sent me back out. They sent a ref out. We didn't have a ref for the back draw. But they sent a ref out just to kind of keep an eye on me. Sure. And the medic came over and watched. So we come back into this match at 15-15-2. I'm serving. I think we win a point, and then it's 16-15. We're about to win this thing. I'm like, dude, this is legendary. I just passed out on the court, and we're going to win this thing. I hit a great drive. My partner crashes, gets a backhand counter winner right into the net. I'm like, dude, no. Why? We could have ended
Sounded
this
like
thing.
me.
Yeah, exactly. I laughed because it was like the same thing. And then this match just goes on forever, grinding back and forth. It's 16-15, then they claw up 17-16, then we get it 17-17. It goes back, and it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We end up finally winning it at 20-18. This match went on forever. It was ridiculous. So that was pretty fun. Passing out wasn't the best, but I think that's the third time this has happened. It happened in Kansas City when it was like 113 degrees playing singles. Then it happened in Hawaii when we were playing a tournament, and then now at this challenger. So I don't know. Me and the Heat don't get along, I guess.
Yeah, clearly not.
But then we lost our next backdraw match, and everybody was just bangers. Everyone we were playing was just drive.
Well, I always think that's like the really funny thing about pickleball. I've thought this since probably early when I started, but like you begin and like everyone's a banger because no one knows what dinking is. Like, why would I dink when I can just drive the ball? Then you get to like this like 4-0, 4-2, 5-ish, maybe even between 4-0 and 5-0 spot. Or sorry, 4-0 and 4-5 spot. And everyone's like, bro, you got to dink. It's all about the dink. You don't drive the ball. You're not going to win. Then you get to 5-0 plus now and everyone's like, why the heck am I going to drop and dink the ball? I'm just going to smack it. Like, it's just a funny, like, bell curve.
Yeah, the strategy, just because, like, people's drives get so much better, you're able to manipulate the ball better, and then hands and crashing and being just shake and bake is such a good strategy. End points quick, win the match. It's a good way to play. But then you get to pro, and then that doesn't work anymore. Everyone's hands are too good. Yeah. Then you got to start dinking again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is funny how that works. It just flip-flops back and forth. But, yeah, we end up losing 11-15. So a bit of a bummer, but 2-2, not the worst. I think both my partner and I were a little off, obviously. It wasn't the best. So I think overall, good experience. It was fun getting to be really competitive at a more serious, higher level tournament. So I think it was solid. For what it's trying to be, I think they ran it well. It ran smoothly. Overall was good. I think there's a few things they could do a little better, like how they set up like the championship match and the bronze match and how they run things and timing wise. And like, I'm just going to be straight up honest. If anyone from Challenger team, like management team is listening, just invest in a speaker. Like y'all were trying to use this little megaphone and the guy who was like kind of emceeing and announcing things, it was a little embarrassing.
Wait, what did they have to like do? You even use that for? Wouldn't you guys have been using tech system for courts?
Well, to go to your match, yes, it was a tech system. But then for like the people, there was a grandstand. There was like some stands and people watching like the gold medal matches and stuff.
I see.
And they did like, now this was probably the most embarrassing thing, like a little exhibition kind of thing where they gave two people, those like little baby paddles.
Yeah.
The tiny handle. I think they're Selkirk paddles.
Yeah.
They gave like two people those, and they were like dinking at the kitchen, and this guy was like trying to announce it, and it was. I got secondhand embarrassment from watching it. It was rough, and there's like 40 people in the crowd watching.
Sure.
So there was that, and then they were trying to announce, these players gold medal match, this and that. I could barely hear him, and he's like whispering into this megaphone. Either someone else has got to do it with a louder voice, or just get a loud speaker. I see. Because I was a little embarrassed seeing it.
Sure.
So that was the only thing. But everything else ran well. Tournament was good. It was just like a much more serious local tournament is the best way I could describe it. If anyone is at that 5.055 plus range trying to play, get some pro wins and pro matches, I think challengers are great. I think it's a good way to do it. And it's a good starting point. So I'm all for it. I liked it.
Sure. Nice. Yeah. I kind of under the impression that that's what it was going to be is, obviously there's not the pros there. So it doesn't make sense to like have a Pickleball Central booth and like all these other tents. Like I just don't think it is there yet for that. But
yeah. And format, I forgot that. Format was great. It was just regular bracket play, 2 out of 3 to 11 to start main draw. You go to the back draw, 1 to 15, win by 2. That's the format.
Sure.
I think that was great. Honestly, that was probably my favorite part. The format was phenomenal. Like, sure, we lost first round. Sorry, be better, I think that just going straight into bracket play, 2 out of 3 is the best format to play. Now, leading into that, and, we've both played a bunch of local tournaments recently. You've been playing a ton. Local tournament formats. I am so anti-pool play.
Before we get into that, actually, I should have put this up front. Maybe I'll even have you cut it in later or something. But I would love to hear, if you guys are listening at this stage of the podcast, what is your skill level? And if you play tournaments, what is the format that you prefer? Because I think what I've come down to is that depending on your skill level, you will have a heavy, heavy preference for one format or another. Mm-hmm. Now go ahead.
Yes. So, and that even leads into this even better. One, I'm so anti-pool play. Mm-hmm. I could not care less about pool play.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense. Why? I don't want more games. I just want to win or lose. That is the point where I'm at with these tournaments. You either be better and win, or you lose and get kicked out, go back to practicing, buddy. And so for any local tournaments that are trying to run pro events, because there's, 4-5, 4-0, 5-0 brackets, and then we're doing pro, okay? That should just be bracket play, and all of my friends, a bunch of my friends that I talk to feel all the same way at this level. They just want to go into bracket play a tournament. Now, we had our big local tournament. They've been running this tournament for years. It's been known as like the biggest local tournament in Minnesota. Their kind of like slogan or motto was, we treat everyone like the pros. Mm. Well, the issue with that is not everyone wants to be treated like pros, quote unquote, because people at that pro or high 5-0 level want very different things, like you just said, than people at 3-5, 4-0. Mm-hmm. It's drastically different. Sure, they want to get as many games as possible, play as much, and play for fun. 5-0 pro just want to win money. It's a competition. And so it's very different. And talking with a bunch of my friends about it, we all had kind of negative feelings towards this one just because of the pool play format. They changed the format a lot on us very quickly, and it wasn't run that great. And the biggest issue that I had recently with that tournament was it was Franklin balls, but before I get into that, local tournaments have gotten very expensive. Challenger was really expensive, but I get it. If you're going to...
How much was the Challenger, do you know?
For one event, without a discount code, $210 for one event.
Yeah.
Now I get it. Okay, if it's going to be a PPA and it's a pro event, sure, you're gonna upcharge it a little bit. But for local tournaments, paying over $110 or $120 for one event seems a little crazy.
I will say, I feel like from when I started, the price of local tournaments has gotten harder to stomach for sure. And I'm sure it's two things that are at odds with each other, which is, well, I think there's probably three things. One, tournament directors are putting in a lot of work to run a tournament. So I'm sure they obviously want to make some money. That's one bucket. The second bucket is, as demand for tournaments goes up, I think the facilities that are being rent out know demand's higher, so you're going to give us more money because people want to do tournaments. So now the tournament director is like, well, we need to make some money. They want more money. Well, these people are the ones that are going to pay to do it. So if the demand is there, and we'll it's classic supply and demand, like I think throughout the entire thing. So I'd love to see from organizations who they just host tons of local tournaments, like kind of the financials behind that. How much does it cost to rent a facility for a day? And how much does that vary between facilities and states? Like, I'd love to know all of that. Yeah. But anyways, I agree. It's gotten more expensive. When I'm paying for a local tournament and I'm getting up to about 100, and honestly, I'm probably not too happy if I'm passing 120, but I feel like I'm starting to pay close to 150 or something. I'm like, that's a lot of money. If I'm going to do that 2 times a month, even once a month, I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, okay, yes, it's a lot of money. But the issue is you cannot charge that much and then be as stingy as they were with certain things. Example, Franklin ball. Franklins get really soft after a few games. I get it. You're probably not going to have enough balls for everyone to have a new ball each game. But this tournament's been going on Thursday or Friday, right? They've been using the same batch of balls through every event, every division for the whole week. Then we get to the pro level bracket, and we're using instantly starting with, okay, I can't remember exactly. I think some people had used balls to start. Some might have had new. But we've got used Franklins, and then during the gold medal match, both of their balls cracked, and I need to go get a new ball. So I walked over and said, hey, we need another ball for the gold medal match to crack. And they're like, prove it. You need to show us that they broke. They were so stingy about getting a ball. It's a Franklin.
Sure.
And then also, I asked for a ball. I was like, hey, do you have a ball I can warm up with? And they're like, nope, we can't give you one. To warm up to start the tournament, you can't give me a ball? Sure. That seems insane. And then we had a ball that had cracked during one of my matches during pool play. Or maybe, no, it didn't crack. I think somebody might have accidentally put it in their pocket. They didn't put it back in the basket. And they're like, you need to go back and hunt that ball down and give it back to us. It's like, okay, this is crazy. We're using old, used Franklins. We're paying almost $130 or whatever dollars. And you're that stingy about the ball. It just had a bad feeling, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. A lot of people had issues with how it was run in that aspect. And it just didn't feel great. And it has felt like it's fallen off from years past, and it was definitely very frustrating. So I just think local tournaments almost just feel greedy now is kind of the feeling I've been getting from a lot of local tournaments.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I feel like when we were down in Texas, the amount of people and the amount of same people that were willing to keep playing these tournaments over and over and over sounded very high. So that's why I'm curious for these other states, if you're still listening at this point, what are the things that happen at your tournaments that keep making you come back and want to do them? For me, I'm in this middle ground stage where I don't really care if we do pool play. I think what I am starting to realize is, for me, I don't mind if there's pool play. That's fine. But I do probably want it capped. If I'm going to do pool play, I'd like it capped at a certain amount of games. Because let's say, I think some of the ones I've done recently have been about 5 pool play games. And specifically, with my back getting tired during a tournament, 5 pool play games and then bracket, I'm like, okay, well now I'm just a little worn out. So that kind of sucks. And especially if it's a pool play where not everyone makes it through. So it's like, okay, you do have to try during pool play to make it through, and then you're tired for the bracket. I think my sweet spot would probably be, this is tough, one of two things, 3 to 4 pool play games tops, and then either everyone makes it through, or you eliminate the top 1 or 2 teams.
Bottom.
Yeah. probably even one. Like it, yeah, I just think that's where I'm a little bit more annoyed with pool play games these days is I'm just tired. Like I don't need that many games.
Right.
But I don't mind doing it.
My issue is like, okay, if everyone goes through in the pool play, well, cool. I just did a round robin rec play.
Well, see, the thing that for me, or maybe not even necessarily me, but I don't mind it for this reason. And I think there are other people. We have a friend that's like this, where if you are a really slow starter, like let's say your first match is always terrible, it does suck for a double elim to be like, dang, I always know I play this first one bad. And then pool play kind of lets you get through that. You're warm by the time you get to bracket. Or you could be too warm, depending on if you had to play 6 games.
Sure. But I think is if you're trying to play, like, you're signing up for a pro level event and you know that's your issue, that's your weakness. Well, you just got to work on that, you know?
Yes. And that's where, again, I think it's 2 different things. There's the pro side of things, and I don't think for pro events I don't think pool play makes any sense for those events. But I think for anything below 5-0, I think for a lot of people it makes sense, especially if you're newer to tournaments. I think one of the worst feelings in the world is, let's say you paid that $120, and you get, let's say you did 2 events. Let's say you did men's and you did mixed, and you went 0-4. You're like, okay, cool. I paid $120 and I got 4 games and they all sucked. Like for that demographic, I think that would be really frustrating. But I think when you are someone who's like, dude, I'm trying to play really serious events, like I'm grinding and training, you don't care about extra games because the only thing you care about is winning or losing. Mm-hmm. But people who don't have those same goals, or maybe they're working their way up, they're like, I just want reps.
Yeah.
Reps, and like I want it to be fun, right? Like, yeah, I want to win these tournaments, but I'm also like, I don't really love environments where everyone's like super cutthroat and like everyone just seems pissed off the whole time. You know, it's like I'm trying to have like a good time. In fact, one of the things that drives me nuts the most at a tournament is when like people start arguing on the court over things that even seem silly. Like I've seen this happen a number of times and I'm just like, it's just like a vibe killer. I'm like, dude, like chill. Like, chill out. So
no, I can definitely agree with that.
That's where I think there's 2 different demographics for tournaments and like what format's going to be used. Yeah, pro, probably forget pool play. Yeah. But for everyone else.
Other issue with the pool play and the format, my main thing is pool play I don't like. But then now they move into bracket, they cut these teams, whatever, and you go into the quarterfinals and it's 1 game to 15 for the quarterfinal. Like, why not make it 2 out of 3 and then we don't have time? Well, the tournament ended super early. You also have these vendors who paid a lot of money to be there. And then you only make it 1 to 15 to go faster because you don't have time. And then the tournament ended so early, there was no one left. And after talking to some of the owners of these vendors, they were like, yeah, this is terrible. We paid a ton of money to be here. It ended super early in the day and everyone just left. There was no one here. So you kind of screwed over the people that paid money to be there. And then the people playing, 1 game to 15 in the quarterfinals feels really bad. They even did 1 game to 15 in the semifinals. I think semifinals, sure, whatever, quarters, maybe. If you really stretched on time, whatever. Semifinals should always be 2 out of 3 to 11, in my opinion. It just feels really bad when you play a whole tournament, especially a pro tournament, and the only 2 out of 3 match is gold.
Yeah, right.
Seems a little silly to me.
Well, and I think this is where I feel like if I'm thinking about all the tournament logistics, like this is why I would love to know like what these venue costs and stuff are, because let's say venue cost goes up. Okay, you have one of 2 options. You either need a ton more people to make up the cost, or you need to raise the price. Well, we've already established we don't really like raising the price of the tournament because people are unhappy about, how much it costs. So if the second option is then that you need more people, now the problem becomes, and in this case, it sounds like it ended early. So in that context, it's not much of an issue. But now the tournaments may just run really late, kind of like how PPAs used to overfill everything. You're like, dude, why are we playing until 11:30 p.m.? Like, learn to cap your tournaments. But if you can't cap the tournament because you need the extra money one way or another, which is either the raised fee or more people, it's like hard to juggle. So that's why I really want to know some of the financials of some of this, because I feel like it'd make it a little easier to understand. Because when you're talking 500, 600 person tournament, like those take a while to run. And I agree. Like I'd love to see things like semifinals always be 2 out of 3. And then it just comes down to like time again. Like if you're strapped for time, like that's tough.
Yeah. It was just a bunch of things combined recently with not only just this local tournament, but other ones where it's just like, they've all just felt really bad.
Yeah.
And had a bad taste in their mouth. And it's just like, wasn't enjoyable. And so I don't know. I just had local tournaments have not been that great. I think format has probably been one of the biggest things for me.
Yeah.
So just very frustrating. And I know a lot of people who I talked to shared the same frustrations. And like you said, down in Texas, talking to those people and seeing that event and hearing about other events run seems great. Everyone loves it. They keep doing it. So I don't know why it's so different.
Yeah, I don't know if it hasn't hit like a oversaturated point yet where it's like overdone and then people are tired of it. Like, are people just excited because it's new there, or I don't know.
Who knows?
I'd be very curious to hear like all the different tournament organizers. But for anyone listening, basically we just like to know what are the things that are important to you at a tournament. Because to me, like I said, I'm in that like weird middle zone where I'm like, whatever. As long as you don't like make the terrible run long. Like to me, I think the thing that would annoy me the most about a tournament right now, more than anything, would be if you can't run it on time. So for example, the minor league event, even though it ran for 7.5 hours, which is really long to be playing, like I was very tired by the end of the day. I didn't really mind because the day still moved pretty quick. There was not a lot of downtime. There was enough between games where I could rest because another match was still being played, but it felt about the right amount of waiting. If I got to wait an hour plus, now I'm starting to get like annoyed because it's like, now I'm not warmed up anymore. So to me, that's the thing that I think I get the most frustrated with.
It was also a little different, like going 7.5 hours, but starting late in the day, and now you're not getting home till like 12 o'clock or 1 in the morning, versus like, well, I got there at 6:40 in the morning, and I didn't leave till like 3 p.m. It's like, yeah, that's a super long day, but it's just different. Starting earlier, if it's going to be a really long day, I think is better.
They actually don't know which I prefer.
You'd rather get home at 1 in the morning?
Well, no, I don't like getting home at 1 in the morning, but that's also just because it was a long drive. If it was one of the tournaments that's 20 minutes away, it wouldn't have really mattered. But I like starting later in the day because then I don't have the issue you had, which is getting up at 4 in the morning.
I mean, I don't love getting up at 4 in the morning. I think ideal start time is like 10 o'clock. I think so anytime.
Probably like 11 or 12.
I've started at like 10, 11, between there. It's like the best.
Sure.
But that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really mind. It was obviously driving home late. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm really exhausted, but it was whatever. I still had a good time. Like, I think I would have been more annoyed if it was like all day we're sitting around like, hey, is someone going to run this thing? But since we didn't have that issue,
yeah. So
it was fine.
Altogether, what I'd say is, and I didn't expect to say this, out of all the local-ish tournaments, anything outside of like the big tournaments that we played recently, like the U.S. Open, PPA Challenger has probably been my favorite. Even the other local tournaments and stuff I've done here and there have not been that great. And my experience at the PPA Challenger has probably been the best one, is what I'd say.
All right.
And shout out to the medic who took care of me, all the refs who, helped me out, took care of me, made sure I was in good health. Talked to a few of you guys. I apologize, cannot remember all your names. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Had a few of them come up to me and say they listened. So thank you. And PBA Challenger was a good time.
Nice. Well, I think that's pretty much everything we had. So
I think so.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. And we'll catch you next week.
Peace.